From the bits and pieces that we've heard about this proposal from Oracle, including the fact that it would create jobs here in the U.S., not to mention that it wouldn't really be an outright sale, but sort of a restructuring. Is this, in your view, likely to get the go-ahead and the green light from the Trump administration?
So it's difficult to predict what's going to happen with the Trump administration. If the Trump administration was concerned or legitimately concerned about reducing the security risk or creating a more level playing field where American companies have the same access to Chinese markets as Chinese tech companies have access to the U.S. markets, this deal accomplishes neither of those things. So if the review is truly a legitimate review, it would be rejected out of hand. This deal, as it's proposed, is nothing but a follow-on financing where Oracle is the lead investor at what is likely a stepped-up valuation in exchange for a contract to manage the cloud operations. This, as far as I can tell, achieves none of the objectives initially stated in the initial outline ban.
So if the Trump administration does go ahead and give the green light, what would it do for the administration, for President Trump?
Give them peace with honor on an ill-thought-out decision or a statement that possibly he couldn't manage legally. There was some question around whether they were going to be able to enforce this deal, and a recognition that he got out over his skis and the ability to, peace with honor here. But I don't see this again accomplishing anything close to what the initial objectives of a ban or a sale were. So if they do this, it's because they want to move on to something else, as they felt that A, either they got out in front of their skis, or B, they just wanted to give a gift to a donor, to one of the few CEOs and tech leadership that has actively or openly endorsed the president. So this is socialism at best and cronyism at worst.
Scott, could it also just be an opening gambit? I mean, if we kind of take a look at this as being the art of the deal, and maybe ByteDance negotiators there have also read that as well, could this just be an effort to either really start negotiations in earnest or to buy them a bit more time, because who knows what the political climate will be after November?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I would argue that China's superpowers, they think in time horizons of decades, whereas we appear to be in this country thinking in time horizons of 140 characters. And I'm sure they've decided that if they can get a great deal and a great follow-on financing and a good cloud partner in the U.S. that satisfies the administration, then fine. But if not, they'll just beat the clock or run out the clock. And, in 50-odd days, we have a new administration, and we don't know how the new administration is going to feel. But this just feels, quite frankly, that we have been totally outplayed, and that, we'll see what the CFIUS decision is, but I would argue that based on the president's comments that you just played, it feels like that the president has blinked here. This accomplishes almost nothing.
You're a professor of marketing, though. The president is very good at marketing these things, putting the spin on them, to be able to package it up as another example of him getting tough on China and packaging it up as a win for America, right? He's capable of doing that with this.
I guess. You can spin this however you want or put lipstick on a pig, but this just isn't. There are really two concerns here. One is trying to have some sort of level playing field around what technology companies are allowed to do from China versus what American technology companies are allowed to do in mainland China. But more than that, it was really I don't think there's much of a security concern as much as there is what I call a misinformation or influence concern, that this algorithm, for anyone who's used TikTok, knows that this is a very powerful algorithm that is very enticing. And there are always humans behind algorithms, and if bad actors who don't share American interests decided to try and influence the 100 million people on TikTok, whether it's suppressing their vote or inflaming them, whatever it might be, that is a very serious, legitimate concern. And it's hard to see how, unless you have American engineers, such as what Microsoft was proposing, take control of this algorithm, you don't really, in my mind, begin to even address what is probably the most legitimate concern around TikTok's presence in the U.S.
Just quickly, what about the claim by President Trump that the federal government will get a cut?
It just feels as if we have turned into a reality TV show where it's scripted by a real estate entrepreneur who decides he's the hero and that they're going to get some sort of kickback. I think it's likely illegal, and B, it's just plain embarrassing. So I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's legal, and I think it reflects poorly on the incredibly shrinking brand that is America.